I thought my roommate was helping me prep for my dream job. Turns out she deleted my application behind my back. I'm a 25-year-old woman, and for the past year, I've been sharing an apartment with my roommate, Jenna. On the surface, we were close, movie nights, shared groceries, venting about work over cheap wine. She even cheered me on when I told her I was applying for my dream job at a publishing house I'd admired since I was a teenager. It felt good to have someone in my corner. She proofread my resume, quizzed me on interview questions, even helped me draft my cover letter. Every night after work, we'd sit on the couch with our laptops, me polishing my application while she gave feedback. I remember thinking, this is what real friendship looks like. But the day applications closed, I didn't get a confirmation email. At first, I thought it was a glitch. I checked my spam folder. Nothing. I logged into the portal, but my account showed no submission. My stomach sank. I knew I had uploaded everything days earlier. I had triple-checked. When I asked Jenna if she'd seen me hit submit, because she was literally sitting beside me at the time, she shrugged and said, "Maybe you just forgot?" That didn't sit right. I knew I hadn't forgotten. So I dug. And what I found made my blood run cold. The portal logs showed the exact time my application had been withdrawn. 2 days before the deadline. From my account. On my laptop. Except I hadn't done it. There was only one other person who had access to my laptop that week. The same person who had insisted she help me with my application. Jenna. When I stared at the withdrawal timestamp in my application portal, my stomach twisted so violently I thought I might throw up. 2 days before the deadline. On my own account. On my own laptop. And I knew, with a certainty that chilled me, that I hadn't touched it. That left only one possibility, Jenna. But before I could confront her, I sat there frozen, replaying our friendship in my mind like a movie on rewind. Because the truth was, there had been cracks, little things I brushed off at the time, that suddenly looked very different in the light of betrayal. When Jenna and I first became roommates, it was almost by accident. We'd both been scrambling for a place after our leases ended, and a mutual acquaintance connected us. At first, it was perfect. She was funny, outgoing, the kind of person who knew all the bars with happy hours and all the tricks to make rent cheaper. We clicked fast. I remember thinking how lucky I was. Living in a city where friends came and went, Jenna felt like an anchor. We cooked meals together, split chores, even traded clothes. She knew about my messy breakup, my family drama, my secret dream of landing that publishing job. She also knew how much that dream meant to me. And yet, the more I thought about it, the more I realized Jenna's support had always carried a sharp edge. When I got my first interview invite months earlier, for a smaller company, she laughed and said, "Better practice on that one before the real places ever consider you." I thought she meant it as encouragement, but now I wasn't so sure. When I stayed up late editing my portfolio, she'd sigh dramatically and mutter, "You're so obsessive. If they don't want you as you are, why twist yourself into knots?" When I finally got the email announcing applications were open at the publishing house, she grinned and said, "This is it, huh? Do or die." At the time, I laughed. Now, her words echoed differently. And then there was the night I asked if she'd help me proofread. I'd spent hours perfecting my cover letter, every word weighed carefully. Jenna leaned over my shoulder, reading in silence. After a moment, she said, "It's fine. But honestly, this whole thing feels out of reach. You know how competitive that place is, right? Like, thousands of applicants. Don't get your hopes too high." It stung, but I ignored it. I told myself she was just being realistic. Now, staring at that timestamp, I realized she hadn't been realistic. She'd been planting seeds. Little cuts to my confidence, all while pretending to support me. The thought made my chest ache. Was any of it real? The movie nights, the pep talks, the "I'm so proud of you"s? Or had she been smiling while quietly sharpening a knife behind my back? I replayed the night the application disappeared. I'd left my laptop open on the dining table while I showered. Jenna was sitting right there, scrolling on her phone. She could have logged in, clicked a button, and undone months of work in seconds. And she would have known I'd never get a notification, it would just vanish quietly, like it never existed. The more I thought about it, the more sick I felt. She hadn't just sabotaged me. She'd done it in a way that made me doubt myself, made me wonder if I had really forgotten. That was the part that twisted the knife, the gaslighting. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark, my heart pounding. The betrayal was clear, but the bigger question loomed like a storm cloud: why? What did Jenna gain from ruining my chance? Was it jealousy? Spite? Did she want me stuck, miserable, so she wouldn't feel left behind? I didn't know yet. But I promised myself this: I was going to find out. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my chest heavy with anger and disbelief. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the timestamp in my application portal, withdrawn, 2 days before the deadline. And every time I saw Jenna's face, the way she'd smiled when I said this job meant everything to me. By morning, my anger was boiling over. I couldn't keep it inside any longer. Jenna was in the kitchen, sipping her coffee and scrolling her phone like it was any other day. I walked in, my hands shaking, and dropped my laptop on the counter. "What's this?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. She glanced up, raising an eyebrow. "What's what?" I spun the screen toward her, showing the log. "My application. Withdrawn. From my account. On my laptop. While you were sitting right there." For the first time, her face flickered, just a split-second crack before she slipped back into her usual cool expression. She set her mug down carefully. "Are you accusing me of something?" "Yes," I snapped. "Because I didn't withdraw it. And you're the only other person who had access." She gave a little laugh, shaking her head. "Wow, you messed something up, and instead of owning it, you're blaming me? That's low, even for you." The gaslighting hit me like a slap. "Don't you dare. I know what I did. I know I submitted it. And you've been chipping away at me for months, telling me I wasn't good enough, that I'd never get it. And now my application's gone. That's not a coincidence." Her eyes narrowed, and her voice turned icy. "You're paranoid. You think the whole world revolves around you. Newsflash, it doesn't. Maybe you just weren't ready for that job. Maybe it's better this way." "Better this way." The rage surged in my chest. "Better for who? For me, or for you?" For the first time, she didn't answer right away. She just stared, her jaw tightening, and in that silence, I saw the truth. "It was you," I whispered. She slammed her phone on the counter. "Fine. Yes, I did it. I deleted it. Because watching you obsess over this stupid job was pathetic. You act like landing it would magically fix your life. It wouldn't. And I was sick of being your little cheerleader while you made everything about yourself." My stomach dropped. "You sabotaged me." Out of spite, she leaned forward, her eyes cold. "No. I saved you from humiliating yourself. You think you're so special, but you're not. You'd never survive in that world, and deep down you know it. I just did you the favor of proving it before they rejected you." Her words cut deeper than I expected. This wasn't just about the application. This was about jealousy. Resentment. Maybe even hatred she'd been hiding under fake smiles and supportive comments. I took a step back, my chest tight. "You're supposed to be my friend. My roommate. You pretended to help me while you destroyed me behind my back." She shrugged, grabbing her mug again. "Friends don't let friends chase pipe dreams. You'll thank me one day." That was the moment I realized Jenna wasn't just toxic. She was dangerous. She wanted me small. She wanted me stuck. And as long as I lived under the same roof, she would keep dragging me down. But I also knew something else: I wasn't going to let her win. After Jenna admitted what she'd done, I thought I would feel relief. Finally, the truth was out. But instead, I felt hollow. Empty. Like someone had scooped out my chest with an ice-cold spoon. I kept hearing her words on loop: friends don't let friends chase pipe dreams. She said it so casually, like deleting months of my work was an act of kindness. That morning, I packed my bag and spent the whole day at a cafe just to avoid her. I needed space to think, to breathe. But the more I replayed our conversation, the more I realized she hadn't given me the whole truth. Her motive wasn't just to save me from humiliation. There was something else. Something uglier. So I started digging. Jenna and I had always shared the Wi-Fi password, and she often borrowed my laptop. I checked the browser history, not just for my application portal, but everything. And that's when I found it: searches for the very same job. Not under my account. Under hers. My stomach flipped. Jenna hadn't sabotaged me because she thought I wasn't good enough. She sabotaged me because she wanted the job herself. The realization made my blood boil. She had sat beside me for weeks, pretending to help, asking me questions about what recruiters looked for, how to answer interview questions, all while taking notes for herself. And when the time came, she made sure I was out of the running. I confronted her that night. She was sprawled on the couch watching Netflix, a blanket around her shoulders, as if nothing had happened. "You applied for the job," I said, holding up my phone with screenshots of her searches. Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me. For a moment, she looked almost amused. "And? You deleted my application so you wouldn't have competition." My voice shook with fury. "You pretended to help me, all while stealing my prep and taking it for yourself." She didn't even flinch. She just smirked. "Welcome to the real world. It's every man, or woman, for themselves. If you weren't strong enough to protect your own chances, that's not my problem." I couldn't believe the words coming out of her mouth. "You've been living off my notes, my research, my ideas. You wanted to be me, just without me in the way." Her smirk widened. "And guess what? I got an interview. Next week." My vision blurred with rage. She had taken everything I worked for and made it hers. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to shake her until she saw the monster she'd become. But instead, I whispered the only thing I could manage: "You are dead to me." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Please. You won't last a month without me. You're too naive to survive on your own." I stormed into my room, slamming the door, my body trembling. But her words stuck like splinters. Naive. Too naive to survive. That night, I lay awake and made a decision. I wasn't going to just sit back and let Jenna steal everything. I wasn't going to let her paint me as the fool while she climbed the ladder built on my back. If she thought I was naive, she was about to find out how wrong she was. Because I wasn't going to just get even. I was going to make sure she never had the chance to sabotage me, or anyone, again. Once I realized Jenna hadn't just sabotaged me out of spite but out of competition, something inside me snapped. I wasn't just hurt anymore, I was determined. If she wanted to play dirty, I was going to bury her with her own lies. The first thing I did was secure proof. Screenshots of the withdrawal log from my account. Screenshots of her search history. Even photos of her notebook she'd left lying around, full of bullet points I recognized from my own prep materials. I scanned everything into a folder labeled insurance. Then I started watching her. Carefully. For the next few days, Jenna strutted around the apartment like a queen. She hummed while she cooked, left clothes in the laundry room like she owned the place, and dropped little comments meant to twist the knife. "You know, some people just aren't cut out for high-pressure jobs. Maybe this will be a wake-up call for you to aim lower, something you can actually handle. I can't wait to work there. It'll be so much better than where I am now." Every word made my fists clench. But I stayed quiet, because silence was my weapon. She thought I was defeated. That was exactly what I wanted her to think. The night before her interview, she rehearsed answers out loud in her room, practically shouting them through the wall. I almost laughed. She was parroting the same phrasing I'd used when we practiced together weeks ago. My phrasing. My strategies. My work. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I drafted an email to the HR manager of the publishing house. I had the address saved from when I was preparing my own application. The subject line, information regarding applicant Jenna, last name. Inside, I laid it all out. How my application had been sabotaged from my own account. How Jenna had admitted to deleting it. How she had used my preparation materials to pass them off as her own. I attached the logs, the screenshots, everything. I kept the tone professional, not bitter, because I wanted them to see me as credible, not vengeful. I hit send at 3 a.m., my heart racing. The next morning, Jenna dressed in her best blazer, makeup flawless, hair straightened to perfection. She winked at me as she grabbed her bag. Wish me luck, not that I need it. I smiled sweetly. Good luck, Jenna. Knock 'em dead, she strutted out the door. Hours later, I was sitting on the couch when the apartment door slammed. Jenna stormed in, her face red, eyes blazing. She dropped her bag with a thud. What did you do? She hissed. I tilted my head. What do you mean? They knew, she snapped. They knew everything. The HR lady asked me point blank if I had sabotaged a roommate's application. She said they received concerning information about me. Her voice cracked. They cut the interview short. They said they wouldn't be moving forward with my application. I leaned back, arms crossed, feigning innocence. Wow. That's weird. Maybe karma caught up with you. Her face twisted with rage. You ruined me. I stood slowly, my own anger finally bubbling over. No, Jenna. You ruined yourself the second you decided to stab me in the back. You thought you could use me, break me, erase me. But you underestimated me. She was shaking, her hands balled into fists. You'll regret this. You think you're better than me? You're not. I stepped closer, my voice low and steady. The difference between you and me, Jenna? I don't have to cheat to get what I want. And when I finally land that job, I won't have to destroy someone else to do it. For once, she didn't have a comeback. She just grabbed her bag and locked herself in her room, the slam of the door echoing through the apartment. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat on the balcony, and let myself breathe. For the first time in weeks, the knot in my chest loosened. Jenna had tried to ruin me, and instead, she had burned her own future. But the war wasn't over. Because we still lived under the same roof, and every time I heard her door creak open, I knew she wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The days after Jenna's failed interview were some of the most unbearable of my life. You'd think that after being exposed, after losing the opportunity she'd betrayed me for, she might retreat, maybe even show an ounce of remorse. But instead, she turned into something worse, hostile, vindictive, unpredictable. At first, it was the silent treatment. She wouldn't look at me, wouldn't acknowledge me when we crossed paths in the kitchen. She'd slam doors, blast music in her room, and mutter just loud enough for me to hear, backstabber. Snake. Bitch. Then came the petty sabotage. She accidentally unplugged the Wi-Fi when I was on Zoom meetings. My food went missing from the fridge, milk poured out, leftovers thrown away, bread left open to go stale. She left her dirty dishes piled high in the sink, smirking when I tried to clean around them. It escalated when she started leaving notes. On the fridge, hope you're proud of yourself. On the bathroom mirror, written in lipstick, karma will catch you next. On my bedroom door, watch your back. I took photos of everything. Every note, every mess, every act of sabotage. At first, I thought maybe I'd need them if things went to court or if the landlord got involved. But as the weeks dragged on, I realized I was keeping them as proof to myself that I wasn't crazy, that this was really happening. My parents begged me to move out. My friends offered couches. But moving meant breaking the lease, and Jenna had made it clear she wouldn't let me leave without a fight. "If you break the lease, I'll sue you for every penny," she hissed one night when I dared to mention it. So I stayed. But the apartment didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a battlefield. The final fight happened on a Friday night. I came home late from work, exhausted, only to find my room trashed. My drawers had been pulled out, clothes thrown everywhere, my desk overturned. And on my laptop, a sticky note: "You ruined my future. Now I ruin yours." Something inside me snapped. I stormed into her room without knocking. She was lying on her bed, scrolling her phone like nothing happened. "You went through my stuff," I said, my voice trembling with rage. She looked up, smirked, and shrugged. "Maybe you shouldn't leave your door unlocked." I took a step closer. "This ends now, Jenna. You've destroyed my trust, my peace, and you nearly destroyed my future. I'm done. Either you move out, or I will." Her face twisted. "Oh, please. You think you're the victim? You ruined my chance. You made me look like a liar." "You are a liar," I snapped. "You sabotaged me, and you got caught. That's on you. Not me." For the first time, she faltered. Her smirk wavered, and for a split second, I saw something like shame flicker in her eyes. But then she doubled down. "Fine. Leave. I don't need you. I don't need anyone." And that was it. The next morning, I called the landlord, explained everything, and sent the folder of proof I'd been collecting for weeks. The photos of her notes, the logs from my application, the mess she'd made of my room. He agreed to let me break the lease early without penalty, given the extreme circumstances. 2 weeks later, I was gone. I carried the last box out of that apartment with shaking hands, my heart pounding. Jenna didn't come out of her room. She didn't say goodbye. She just let the door slam behind me as if erasing me from her life was the final move in her twisted game. Now, months later, I live in a small studio. It's quiet, sometimes lonely, but it's mine. No more notes, no more sabotage, no more knives in the back disguised as friendship. And the publishing house? They opened applications again this cycle. I reapplied, this time from a new laptop, in a new space, without anyone hovering over my shoulder. When I hit submit, I didn't think about Jenna. I thought about me. About how close I'd come to giving up. Whether I get the job or not, I know one thing for certain: I'll never let anyone like her near my dreams again. Because the scariest betrayal isn't from strangers, it's from the person sitting on the couch next to you, smiling, pretending to cheer you on, while quietly pulling the rug out from under your feet. And I survived it.
Follow me for more stories.